Today, it's a new kind of fascism. It's a religious fascism. It's backed by the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world. Ahmadinejad and Khomeini run a government, if it can be called a government, run a totalitarian state that suppresses and tortures and murders their own people in Iran while threatening the stability and freedom of people all around the world.
You want to promote and advance human rights in all of Iran, but we're especially thinking now about the residents of Camp Liberty and the ordeal in which those folks have gone through in recent weeks, and I might say the neglect they have had from the United States government as well as others. You and I must insist that the residents of Camp Liberty be transferred at the very least to Camp Ashraf, where they will have more protection than they do now from attacks. So I am here today to applaud the goals that you have set forth, goals of a democratic, secular, and non-nuclear Republic of Iran with economic development in the region and respect for international law. A word about Iran itself. Today, Iran is isolated in the region, in deep trouble, rapidly deteriorating, an economy that is a mess, political infighting and factional feuding erupting all over the place, and a crisis of confidence. The supreme leader is a catastrophic development for the democratic aspirations of the Iranian people. Iran's strategic influence wanes, of course, in the region, even as it intensifies its effort to support Syria, Hezbollah, and other groups. Its foreign policy is complex, erratic, opportunistic, and dangerous. Its sole ally in the Arab world is Syria, the regime's very existence, of course, is much in doubt. Our policies include, obviously, a credible military threat, support for a unified, capable, internationally recognized, organized opposition to the Iranian regime, and that's why it's so very important for those of you here in support of this opposition to the Iranian regime to take an active role now to see what you can do to free the Iranian people. All of these aspects of diplomacy, economic and political and diplomatic, have to be woven together effectively to deal with the challenge of Iran. May I conclude simply by saying that the 10-point plan that has been put forward by the MEK for the future of Iran is right on the mark, and I commend you for it. The ballot box, freedom of speech, freedom from the media, separation of church and state, gender equality, support for the rule of law, rights being observed, the free market system, peaceful coexistence, a free Iran without nuclear weapons. That is a platform that you and I can endorse with great enthusiasm.
And I believe what we have seen in Libya, what we're seeing in Syria, what we have seen in Egypt, there is no reason to believe you could not see that in Iran if, in fact, you had a deeply committed American effort to support the people who want to be free. And it's quite clear that the MEK would play a major and decisive role as part of that. So I think the alternative to either war or surrender is, in fact, an all-out effort to replace the dictatorship with a government which is profoundly committed to the people of Iran and to a peaceful future. That's a very different strategy. I believe in the interim, we have a moral and humanitarian obligation to the people of Camp Liberty. And let me be quite clear. I believe We have a moral obligation to take the life of every person who gave up an armed camp that was safe because of American promises. I think it's very important to remember that. that the American people, through their representatives, made representations of safety, which led the people of Camp Ashraf to go to Camp Liberty. So they left a place where they had survived for a long time, had a large amount of space, were well developed, and had plenty of safety against attack. And they went to a place that is a prison. Let's be clear. This is, I mean, the sheer hypocrisy of calling it Camp Liberty should tell you everything you need to know about how bad this is. And so I think we have an obligation to move this up on the congressional calendar. We have an obligation to apply pressure to the State Department. This is a hard problem. We are up against a serious totalitarian dictatorship that is religiously impelled to impose its will on its region and on the world. And I believe that it is inevitable that the dictatorship will break, and I think it is inevitable that the people of Iran will be liberated. And I believe that liberating the people of Iran is the safest and least dangerous way to avoid a nuclear Iran. And I believe the work you're doing and I just want to close by saying I believe the work you're doing as volunteers is genuinely historic, is vital, and will make an extraordinary difference in your lives, the lives of your children, and the lives of both Iran and the United States. Thank you very, very much.